Good evening, and welcome to the Fortean Slip. This is episode -11. The Epstein Files dump smells like pizza? If you had asked me that I could scratch off my bingo card in 2026 that pizzagate was probably real, I'd have laughed. But alas, here we are. Here we are. I don't know about all of you, but I have been watching all of the coverage of the latest release of the Epstein Files with a bated breath, going over the stuff, looking at it, wondering what happened. How did this go down? How did we allow it to go down? That's the bigger question, I think. It's monumental. I mean, I don't have time to go over everything. I'm not even going to jump into the news tonight because the amount of things to go over, it's crazy. So I'm going to try to stick to what I came up with. I tried to come up with some different timelines, and I wanted to look at the people that were connected to him and how the pizza and grape soda references appeared within the files. Pizza is noted, I think it's over 500 times. Grape soda, not so much, but it is in there. Just crazy stuff. I don't know what any of you have heard. The Robin Leach story, which I'm not going to go into too much detail here. That one's pretty crazy. And it's a whirlwind of information that's come out. There's a lot of it. So, I don't know what what any of you have heard. Some of this may be regurgitated stuff. I don't know. Don't know. But we will get into it because that's what we do. I had ChatGPT and Grok both individually do a look into this. ChatGPT's was far more comprehensive. Although I felt like it was in parts, I don't want to say redactive. It kind of was, in a way, propaganda to me. But I'll read through it. You guys can decide for yourself. I don't want to let my feelings get in the way of what this is. My feelings are that we have a bunch of PDF files in high levels of our society/government, and I would like them gone. I mean, there's that. I also thought I should touch base on the whole Somalian fraud thing. I live in the state of Maine, And while I do believe that there is a concerted effort to kind of like bring this to light all at once, and that kind of gives me pause, I'm not a fan of fraud. Um, do I think it exists? Yes. Um, and there's been a lot of it here in this state, from what I can tell. Now, there's also been a lot of fraud done by people who live here. I would like that to go too. Um, I don't just want the Somali fraud to go away. I want all the fraud to go away. I don't like my tax dollars being wasted anywhere. Doesn't matter where it is. So, um, but yeah, I thought I should touch base on that. I do think that there is some type of a concerted effort by parties unknown to bring this all to light right now. I don't understand what that is or why, but I do think that it exists. Um, so there's that. Um, but we will get into the Epstein Files dump. Uh, in early 2026, the U.S. Department of Justice made public a massive trove of documents related to the Jeffrey Epstein case. This release, totaling roughly 3 million pages plus 2,000 videos and 180,000 images, was mandated by the Epstein Files Transparency Act, a law passed overwhelmingly by Congress and signed by President Trump on November 19th, 2025. One thing I will state right here, I'm going to pause, is that the Trump administration is trying to now pivot and act like, oh, yeah, no, because we're being the most transparent government of all time, that's why this is out. No, you were fought tooth and nail on this, and you're trying to go after the people that got this done. Do not try to gaslight me on this. And don't be gaslit by what they're doing here, folks. It's just gross. The law gave the DOJ 30 days to disclose all unclassified records pertaining to Epstein and his co-conspirators. And I'm pretty sure they didn't make the deadline, with limited exceptions for protecting victims and other sensitive information. According to Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, the DOJ initially posted about 125,000 pages in December 2025, followed by a final batch in late January 2026 to meet the deadline. In total, roughly half of the DOJ's 6 million pages of Epstein files have now been released, with the remaining 3 million pages withheld for reasons including child SA material, ongoing cases, and legal privilege. The Epstein Files encompasses decades of investigative records, correspondence, photographs, and legal documents from the multiple probes and prosecutions of Epstein and his associates. These include FBI interview summaries, internal Justice Department emails, evidence files such as flight logs and address books, and court records from Epstein's 2008 Florida case and the 2019 federal case that was pending at his death. However, the release came with significant challenges. The files are not organized chronologically or by topic, and many documents appear in duplicate, sometimes with different redactions, making it difficult for the public and journalists to sift through the data dump efficiently. Despite employing 500 staff to review and redact information, the DOJ's rush to comply with EFTA resulted in inconsistent and flawed redactions across the database. As discussed below, These issues have sparked concern that the push for transparency may have inadvertently exposed sensitive victim information, even as it sheds light on new Epstein's network and activities. One immediate controversy in the latest document dump was the DOJ's failure to fully protect Epstein's victims' identities. Attorneys for survivors reported literally thousands of mistakes where names and personal details of victims were left unredacted. In some instances, first and last names appeared on separate pages or in email metadata, making it easy to piece together identities. Brad Edwards, a lawyer who has represented Epstein victims for over 20 years, said he received constant calls from panicked clients whose previously private names had been revealed. A joint statement by 20 survivors condemned the disclosures, saying, "This latest release exposes survivors and is a betrayal of the very people this process is supposed to serve." Well, the government fucked up. That's my take on it. Um, they were mandated to do this by law. Uh, Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna, along with Marjorie Taylor Greene, kind of spearheaded this whole thing being released. You take the good with the bad at this point, and yes, the government screwed up, which they often do. Um, keep your eye on the ball, people. Now, where did I... All right. The DOJ acknowledged the errors and shortly after the January 30 release started taking down thousands of pages that contained victim identifiers. Officials said an email hotline was set up for victims to flag any privacy concerns so the DOJ could remove or re-redact the offending documents. By the DOJ's estimate, about 0.1% of released pages, roughly 3,000 pages, initially had unredacted victim info. Victims' advocates argued this was an egregious breach. The easy job would be for the DOJ to type in all the victims' names, hit redact like they promised. The solution is take the thing down for now, Edwards told ABC News. In response to a legal motion by victims, a federal judge scheduled a hearing to consider temporarily shutting down the DOJ's public Epstein Files website until all privacy issues are resolved. Prominent survivor Annie Farmer, who had testified against Epstein, said there is no explanation for how the redactions could have been done so poorly, suggesting the sloppiness may be intentional or reckless. Farmer and others vowed to continue pushing for transparency, but in a way that protects the innocent rather than re-traumatizing them. A major focus of public interest has been the roster of powerful individuals whose names surface in Epstein's communications and other records. Importantly, appearing in the files is not an indication of wrongdoing or knowledge of Epstein's crimes, as media outlets and officials have repeatedly cautioned. Nonetheless, the documents illustrate how extensive Epstein's social and business ties were, even years after his 2008 conviction as a sex offender. Below is a summary of prominent figures and what the newly released files reveal about their connections to Epstein. I'll go through these. I didn't think this list was quite as extensive as I wanted it to be. And some of the stuff that they note, I'm not going to go through it. I'm just going to go through the names of the people that are noted, the well-known people. Of course, Donald J. Trump. It says former U.S. president. He's the current U.S. president. But anywho, Bill Clinton, Elon Musk, Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, former Duke of York, I guess we could say, Steve Tisch, co-owner and vice president of NFL's New York Giants. Bill Gates, Deepak Chopra, Howard Lutnick, who is currently the U.S. Secretary of Commerce, Casey Wasserman, CEO, LA 2028 Olympics Committee, Richard Branson, the founder of the Virgin Group, Peter Mandelson, former British cabinet minister, Labour Party figure. I think there's a big to-do over in the UK about that right now. Brett Ratner, Hollywood film director and producer. He's also the guy that I'm pretty sure just did the Melania movie. And it says Ghislaine Maxwell, which, of course, she was going to be in there. She's in jail right now. But anyway, the one thing that stuck out to me about all of this was the response. Bill Gates' wife, Melinda Gates, was interviewed, and she did not really say anything one way or the other. She was asked about it and how she felt, and she said she felt sad. That was all she would say, which was very, very interesting. She didn't say that it was false. She could have easily, in that moment, been like, no, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. But she didn't say that at all. Not even a little. And that was the whole, there was an email that Jeffrey Epstein had penned and not sent. And in that email, it said that Bill Gates had caught a sexually transmitted disease from Russian hookers and had asked Jeffrey Epstein to procure him some antibiotics that he could take himself and also give to Melinda without her knowledge. And that was what she didn't confirm or deny, which was very, very interesting. And you see a lot of these people out there trying to do damage control on this. I was literally, before the show, watching a thing on the British Parliament and what's going on over there and how they are up in arms about this stuff that came out. So I don't know how it is that anyone can't be upset about this. Like, do we all just want to be like, oh, it's just okay. This is just what happens. The elites just do what they want. Literally, do what they want. Is that where we're at as a country? That we're just like, oh, okay, that's, they do SA to children, and we're just cool with that. That's cool. Is that what we've become? I hope not. Because it seems to me that we've become very complacent with that idea as a society, as a whole. I'm not talking about me personally. I'm disgusted by it. But our society as a whole, we're just, whatever. Oh, man, that wind is ripping out there tonight. It's crazy. Crazy stuff. Ugh. Sup, Steve? Good to see you. Back to this. Yeah, these people that were in here, just, I don't know. And the fact that they can say that there's, Kash Patel can say there's no credible evidence that he trafficked. I'm sorry. There may not be a smoking gun sitting here, But we all see the underlying tone. We all see it. If you don't, you're fucking blind. It's definitely there. But, what do we know? The content of the newly released files spans a wide range, from mundane scheduling emails to explosive allegations. Internal FBI and DOJ records. Among the files is an FBI investigation summary and timeline memo that provides new insight into Epstein's final days. The memo notes that on July 29, 2019, less than 2 weeks before Epstein's death, his attorneys met with federal prosecutors and discussed Epstein's potential cooperation. Epstein's defense didn't offer specifics, but floated the idea that he might assist the government in exchange for a resolution of his case. It's unknown what Epstein might have offered. He died on August 10, 2019, before any deal could materialize. Another document dated after Epstein's death, titled Significant Case Notification, corroborates that no concrete proposal was made but left open the possibility of Epstein cooperating if he were willing to accept responsibility for his conduct. This suggests that, contrary to speculation, he would never have talked. Epstein was at least considering a plea deal and cooperation in his final week alive. The FBI also compiled a summary of public tips and allegations involving Epstein and Donald Trump, likely prepared in mid-2025. The summary lists more than a dozen tips, including unsubstantiated claims of SA. The document does not indicate when these tips came in or provide evidence to verify them. In fact, the DOJ, in releasing this summary, took the unusual step of explicitly warning that some filings may include fake or falsely submitted images, documents, or videos. It noted that certain sensationalist claims against President Trump were received right before the 2020 election and had no shred of credibility, or surely they would have surfaced earlier. This preemptive rebuttal by the DOJ underscores that the Epstein files include raw allegations that were never proven, adding context that these particular accusations were investigated and found baseless. Sorry, I accidentally threw never in there. It's been an evening. Ugh. Yeah, if I could drink my drink too. Right down the side of my fucking face. Another set of internal records includes FBI interview summaries with Epstein's alleged victims and witnesses from 2013 to 2021. While the broad outlines of Epstein's abuse operation were already known, these reports provide first-person details of how it functioned. Multiple witnesses described Ghislaine Maxwell as the primary recruiter. See, this is where I think everybody's wrong. I think she was in control. I don't think he was. I think she was. I think they've got this all wrong. And the fact that she has a sweetheart deal in whatever fucking prison they put her in is unbelievable. She should be serving hard time. I don't give a fuck. What are we doing? This woman, at the very least, if we take it at base value, at the very, very least, she went out and hunted for girls for Jeffrey Epstein. At the most, she ran the operation, which is what I'm pretty sure she did. I mean, allegedly. It is, in my opinion, that it wasn't him. I mean, yeah, obviously he was a part of it. He had something to do with it. but she was the one in control. She was the ringleader. If you want my personal opinion, take that as you will. And there's a lot more to this. There was something I wanted to get into on here. Oh yeah, it goes into the whole thing about Bill Gates and Bill Gates denying everything is false, but oh yeah, there is a timeline I wanted to go over, and I think this is very interesting, and I think for those of you who don't know how long this has been going on, because up until the whole Epstein thing exploded and then he died, I'd never heard of the guy. Never knew of him. No clue. This amazing financier who was, tied to all these high-profile people who, went down for SA early in the 2000s or whenever it was. I'll be going over here in a second. I just can't believe we didn't know any of this. The other thing that I wanted to say too, who knew that Norman Finkelstein and Joe Rogan were going to be the fucking heroes of this whole thing? Two guys who looked into what was going on and said, nope, I don't want nothing to do with it. Kudos to them. But yeah, this timeline, which this put together for me, I really liked. Yeah. So the Epstein Files release has helped establish or confirm key events in the Epstein saga. Below is a timeline highlighting newly documented events or connections revealed by the 2026 disclosures, set against the broader context of the Epstein case. So in 1996, there was an early FBI complaint. The FBI received a formal complaint about Epstein's sexual conduct as early as 1996, years before he was first investigated by local police. This newly released record predates the known 2005 inquiry, indicating Epstein's abuse was on law enforcement's radar in the 90s, though no action was taken then. Imagine that. Then this 2005. Florida indictment drafted. Palm Beach police and prosecutors compiled a 60-count indictment in 2005, charging Epstein with numerous sex crimes against underage girls. 58 of these 60 counts are detailed in a 100-page charging document now made public. Epstein ultimately avoided these charges by negotiating a plea deal in 2008. 2008, June, plea and conviction. Epstein pleaded guilty to 2 lesser state charges, solicitation of prostitution and solicitation of a minor, in Florida, and was sentenced to 18 months, served 13 months with work release. He became a registered sex offender. Not a new revelation, but important context. The files show many contacts continued after this date, which is true. People knew that he had this on his record and still hung out with him. 2009 to 2010, post-conviction socializing. After his release from jail, Epstein resumed mixing with elites. Files show that in September 2010, Epstein emailed Prince Andrew, Duke of York, seeking a meetup. Andrew invited Epstein to dine at Buckingham Palace with lots of privacy. Later that same week, Epstein offered to set Andrew up on a date with a young Russian woman, which Andrew welcomed. In December 2010, Andrew was photographed with Epstein in New York City, and by early 2011, their friendship became a public scandal. 2012, island visits planned. Newly released emails reveal Epstein arranging private island visits with contacts in 2012, in particular, Howard Lutnick, who would later become Commerce Secretary. He's Commerce Secretary now. Planned a trip to Epstein's U.S. Virgin Islands retreat in 2012, despite claiming to have cut ties earlier. Yes, so Howard Lutnick claims that he lives like 9 steps from Epstein, and that after meeting him and going into his house and being told, I get the right type of massage, that him and his wife cut off all ties with Epstein and didn't want anything to do with him. That was bullshit. Also in late 2012, Elon Musk had an email exchange with Epstein about upcoming holiday travel. Musk mentioned being in St. Bart's, and Epstein invited him to drop by Little St. James. Always space for you, around New Year's 2013. Musk ultimately declined the peaceful island visit, preferring parties elsewhere. I don't know that that was how it went down, but I'll go with it. 2013, Epstein's communications in 2013 show him acting as a connector for wealthy friends. In April to May 2013, Epstein emailed multiple young women to introduce them to Steve Tisch, setting up informal dates. By September 2013, Epstein visited Richard Branson at Branson's BVI Island for a meeting, bringing along 3 women, and later emailing Branson to thank him. Also in 2013, Epstein was corresponding with Bill Gates. The files include an unsent email draft where Epstein wrote about Gates in a potentially threatening manner. Yeah, the whole sexually transmitted disease thing. And with others like former Obama White House counsel Catherine Rumler and ex-Treasury Secretary Lawrence Summers, who appear in Epstein's schedules and emails. These contacts illustrate Epstein's continued influence 5 years after his conviction. He was still welcome in some elite circles. 2016 to 2017, Chopra emails, and legal maneuvers. Epstein remained in touch with figures like Deepak Chopra up until shortly before his 2019 arrest. In a 2016 email, Chopra asked Epstein if a certain accuser had dropped her civil suit, to which Epstein replied, "Yep." In 2017, Epstein brazenly asked Chopra to find him an Israeli blonde companion, and Chopra agreed to try. These exchanges show Epstein was still both managing legal cases, settling lawsuits, and pursuing his patterns of procuring women right up until his final downfall. July 6, 2019, arrested again. Epstein was arrested at Teterboro Airport on federal sex trafficking charges on July 6, 2019. He was detained pending trial. July 29, 2019. Epstein offers to cooperate. In a meeting on this date, Epstein's lawyers met SDNY prosecutors and broached the idea of Epstein cooperating in some capacity to resolve the case. No concrete offer was made, but this meeting occurred just 12 days before Epstein's death, indicating last-ditch efforts for a plea deal were in motion. August 8, 2019. Will and trust updated. Epstein signed a new will and trust on August 8, 2019, radically redistributing his assets to a long list of beneficiaries. 44 people, including large bequests to Karina Shuliak, his attorneys, and Maxwell. This was just 2 days before his death. The signing was witnessed in jail. Co-executor Darren Indyke countersigned on August 18th, and Richard Kahn on August 20th. Epstein's estate planning on the 11th hour ensured that his wealth would be harder to claw back by victims as it placed assets in a trust. August 10th, 2019, Epstein's death. Epstein was found dead in his Manhattan jail cell, ruled a self-extermination. Can we say that on YouTube? I don't know anymore. Um, Following his death, prosecutors publicly affirmed that the investigation would continue to pursue any co-conspirators. Yeah, right. August 15th, 2019. Co-conspirator list. The FBI created an internal family and associates chart on August 15th, 2019, listing 9 key people around Epstein, of whom 8 were labeled co-conspirators for follow-up. Names like Maxwell and Brunel were visible. Others were redacted. This indicates that as of immediately after Epstein's death, agents were still mapping out potential targets to investigate further. July 2025. Release controversy. Fast forward by mid-2025, public pressure to release Epstein Files was growing. In July 2025, the Trump DOJ initially announced no more Epstein Files would be released, sparking bipartisan backlash. Critics, including some officials who later joined the Trump administration, accused the government of shielding information. Yeah, like Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, those guys. The outcry led directly to Congress drafting the Epstein Files Transparency Act in the fall of 2025. So, and then it goes into how they've released everything. All in all, I think it is a good thing that they are releasing all of these files. I'm sad for the victims that wanted their names left out of it. What I would say to them is our government sucks. We pay ridiculous amounts of money for shit that we shouldn't. And we do things stupidly. And that's why you get stuff like this. There was a whole batch of the files that came out that if people just went and looked at it in a different way, they could see it without all the redactions. So my heart goes out to those women. But all in all, I think it's a very good thing that these files are out. The people need to see them. We need to know what's going on. We need to know more. The co-conspirators, the people whose names are redacted who aren't victims. I would like to know more, personally. But after I had asked to look into that, I also went through and asked for it to look into the mentions of pizza and grape soda in the Epstein files. And this was a big thing. Like I said at the beginning of the show, if anyone had said to me, hey, cross off your bingo card that Pizzagate was a real thing. What? I thought we were all for sure like, no, that was just bullshit. That was just crazy QAnon shit, right? Right? No, right? Come to find out, it's not. Or at least it seems like it's not. There's a lot of very, very, very strange interactions. I don't understand it. Why would you say these things? Unless it's some type of code. And the code doesn't quite make any sense. I don't know. So anyway, I wanted to go into this because I thought that it was also pertinent. So the 2025-2026 Department of Justice data dump of the Jeffrey Epstein related files comprising nearly 3 million pages of emails, memos, transcripts, and other documents contains numerous references to pizza and a few mentions of grape soda. The term pizza appears approximately 900 times in the released documents. I was wrong. 900. I was off by 400. While grape soda appears far less often, usually paired with pizza in the same context. These references span a wide time frame from the early 2000s through the late 2010s and occur in various document types, primarily emails and message exchanges. So, the word pizza is referenced hundreds of times, roughly 850 to 911 instances across Epstein's communications. Dude loved pizza. Loved it. Just loved it. Yeah, right. Many occurrences appear innocuous. Ordinary discussions of meals, social plans, or casual chit-chat. I question even that. This one that they say is definitely like it was just them thanking him for some pizza. It says, for example, staff and associates emailed about ordering pizza for gatherings or thanking each other for arranging pizza during work outings. In one 2015 exchange, an Epstein assistant enthused in an email subject line, "Your pizza is yummy, yummy." I'm sorry, who the fuck says that? Thanking a colleague for the pizza today. Yummy, yummy. I mean, maybe, I guess. A lot of pizza references. I don't like it. Similarly, a 2013 message from associates Roy and Stephanie Hodges thanked Epstein for providing pizza to the crew during a day out, suggesting a pizza treat for the staff, which that, more than likely. Just pizza. The straightforward mentions indicate that, unsurprisingly, Epstein and his circle did at times talk about actual pizza. Well, I'm sure they did. Sure they did. However, some pizza references are phrased oddly, which has fueled speculation. Notably, a cluster of emails from 2018 contain repetitive, almost coded-sounding mentions. In one, an associate, name redacted, asks Epstein, "What time do you want to get pizza and grape soda tomorrow?" Another 2018 email from a redacted sender, wonder who these redacted people are, contains the cryptic line, "This is better than a Chinese cookie. Let's go for pizza and grape soda again. No one else can understand." No one else can understand. What the fuck? In a third example, a correspondent describes someone radiating a soft glow and remarks, "Yeah, that's the pizza." Such peculiar wording, especially the suggestion that no one else can understand. Yeah, no one else can understand. The pizza and grape soda reference has raised eyebrows. While these could still be inside jokes or references only the participants grasp, they do not read like typical conversations about food, and they occur long after Pizzagate entered the internet lexicon, raising the possibility of intentional irony or code. Grape soda isn't mentioned as often, but it is, and usually in combination with pizza. So then it broke down a timeline of all the mentions, which I don't know if they were all in here that I noticed. Oh, yeah. So in March 2013, it's an email to Epstein. The crew really appreciated the pizza today. Thank you for letting us do that. That was from Roy and Stephanie Hodges. That's probably something that was just for, work. September 2015, email thread. Subject, "Your pizza is yummy, yummy. Thank you for the pizza today. Really good." Leslie Groff and Valdson Cotrin. Very well could have been just regular pizza. 2016 iMessage chat. Multiple casual references to pizza in chat logs. Content not fully public. That's from Aaron Coe, iMessage user chatting with Epstein. 2018, email to Epstein. "What time do you want to get pizza and grape soda tomorrow?" Redacted sender. Described as an Epstein associate in 2018. Also in 2018, email to Epstein. This is better than a Chinese cookie. Let's go for pizza and grape soda again. No one else can understand. Redacted sender. And then in 20 something, I assume it's 20, it says 201X. So sometime after 2010. Email or note. Yeah, that's the pizza. In reply to someone's radiating a soft glow. Unknown sender. This one I think is kind of weird that it's going around. It's undated email chain. Who all in the Austin office today is going to want pizza? We only have one slice. Need to know how thinly to slice it. Epstein and 6 others group email. Note this widely circulated excerpts or origin is disputed. It may come from unrelated leaked files. So there was definitely something going on with the pizza references and Pizzagate. And the fact that we were told that there's nothing to see here, that was swept right under the rug, I am floored. Floored. What more do we not know about? Now, there was a time where I was completely oblivious and I believed that this country existed the way that they said that it did. It doesn't. I don't care what you tell me at this point. It doesn't. It's a sham. If anyone's ever seen The Watchmen or read the Watchmen comic, it's like what the comedian said. It's a fucking sick joke. It's a sick joke. They pull the wool over our eyes. The guy that wrote Manufacturing Consent is all over the Epstein Files. Noam Chomsky. The guy that told us that the media just fills us full of bullshit. So does he. It's all a fucking joke. You go out and you serve your masters. That's all we do. The people up on high. It is literally just like George Carlin said it was. It's one big club and you ain't in it. And you never will be. You're just the cattle. That's all you are. They don't care about you. They never have. If you want to know that your government doesn't care about you, we had a global pandemic and we still don't have health care. They thought COVID was the most dangerous thing in the world. But no, we can't give you guys health care. No. But we can give you a shot. Here's your shot. Shut your fucking mouth. That's the world you live in. Here's your shot. Shut your fucking mouth. And if you don't believe me, just keep watching. That's the fucking story. You are the sheep. You are the cattle. That's all you are to them. And it's all you're going to continue to be. You're the people that they tell what to do. And if they tell you enough times, you believe it. Because that's the thing that I've realized amongst all of this. thanks to Kurt Metzger, who's also in the Epstein Files because Epstein went to one of his shows. Not because of anything nefarious, but people are the secret of people is that they are programmable. If you tell people things enough times, they believe it. It's the power of belief. If you can get enough people to believe shit, you change objective reality. That's all it is. That's why these occult figures or cult figures work. They get enough people around them to believe their bullshit. L. Ron Hubbard, fucking David Koresh. I can't remember the guy who was the Heaven's Gate douchebag. If you can get enough people to believe your bullshit, you do change reality. Maybe it's just in a bubble around you, but objective reality has changed. You've done magic. Good on you. You created a magic spell. Now go fuck yourself. Because that's all it is. It's just a fake fucking magic spell. But people believe it. Because people are easily convinced. You get enough people together, and that's, the people in crowds, even easier. But all you got to be able to do is talk to them in a powerful enough voice. Tell them something that they want to hear. And then just slowly change the narrative. Sometimes harshly change the narrative. But that's how it works. It is a joke. You've been lied to from the beginning. Open your eyes. I can remember a time when I used to sit there and go, oh man, I can't believe, we've come so far from the days when I could actually believe in the news. I never could. There hasn't been a day in my life that I could trust the news. Not one. And that's what we need to come to terms with as a nation. Good old America, named after a god in South America, Amaru. Yeah, your leaders believe in weird shit. You don't believe me, just start looking. They all believe in weird shit. Bohemian Grove. It's a real thing. So, I mean, folks, like I've said to you in previous episodes, you can believe what you want. I am done being a sheep. I don't want to be a sheep anymore. I remember that young version of Chris that was like, oh man, remember when the news was like on point and like you could believe them and you trusted them? Naive fuck. That naive young fuck. Just. Katie says, I don't want government health care because of that shot. Government health care doesn't mean that you're mandated to do shit. It just means it's free. It's like Medicare. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what the answers are there with the whole Epstein Files thing. I know that Ghislaine should be serving hard time, not club whatever the fuck she's in. Um, but we need accountability. There are people who did heinous things, and they should be brought to justice. That's what I believe. And if you're not on board with that, I don't know what to say to you. I mean, we can just disagree, I guess. Um, I Eddie from Kick. I don't know if we need to blame them for this. Um, all in all, but we can keep the possibility open. Um, I definitely think there were ties. I think that Jeffrey Epstein was a free agent. That's what I think he was. I think he was open to whoever was willing to pay him. Um, and I think that he worked for a lot of different agencies. A lot of different agencies. I love how they're trying to pivot it now to making it like it's all like a Russian thing again. Like, dude, you guys already played that card before. Trying to blame everything on Russia. Like, just fucking stop. The game doesn't work anymore. We've seen your playbook. Ever watched Europa: The Last Battle? No. Epstein didn't work for Israel. Israel worked for Epstein. His family has multi-generational cooperation with the Rothschilds. Were the Rothschilds which created Israel? Listen, I don't know. I don't know. I know that there was some heinous shit that went down. And I want the people who were involved to be brought to justice. I think that's very simple. Like it goes back to the whole thing with the Somali fraud thing. I don't care if Nick Shirley is a plant. I don't care. There is definitely fraud going on, and I want it to end. That's all I care about. And fraud, no matter what it is, no matter where it is, because all fraud costs us money as taxpayers. Understand that. And we are going down the tubes. What are we at? $39 trillion in debt now? Just a drop in the bucket. I mean, it's crazy. We are on a sinking ship. We're on a sinking fucking ship. Eddie from Kick, you're on a roll now, man. The fraud exists on every aspect of society as a troll toll. The doctor gatekeep the medicine and some. Well, listen, and obviously you're on a kick with Judaism. Um, the fraud is. I agree, fraud is everywhere. But I want it all to go away. I want it all to go away. So, on that note, I'm going to wrap up for this week. I could not go into the dump of the Epstein Files. It was what was going on while I was without internet last week. So sorry that I was not on last week. The internet was down, and I was having some issues here. So, but it was good to see the faces of those of you that I see usually every week. Katie, Steve. I didn't see Farmer Fred this week. Don't know if he was kicking around. I saw Chris Day in there. Um, Hope to see everybody again next week. I will get into something a little more Fortean next week. I just had to jump into the Epstein Files this week. It's everywhere, and it's nuts. The stuff that's in there is nuts. Torture. I mean, I didn't even get into the really crazy stuff. Like, there's stuff about torture in there, and stuff about I don't even want to get into it because I don't even know what I can say on YouTube right now. Um, it's some pretty sick shit. That's all I can say. It's some pretty sick shit that they did, or supposedly did, I should say. Supposedly did, according to the file dump. So hope everybody can join me next week. Until then, be good to one another. As I've said before, I adhere to the Jimmy Dore school of thought, who is also in the Epstein Files, not in the bad way. You know, my neighbor is not my enemy. My neighbor's going through the same fucking thing that I am. And if we could all just realize that and be good to one another and try to work together, maybe we could find a better fucking place. So, until next week.